Hello, everybody, and welcome to ORL, or the Mobius League Racing division of Division 2. That is, I am Ward Zero or Gareth Davies, whichever you know me as, and I'm joined by yet again by Ollie. Ollie, welcome along to the final race of the season. It's Singapore. Lethal Sniper can win the title tonight as long as he finishes, I think, anything. Well, I don't know. He just needs to finish in the points, and I think he's won the title.
Yeah, thanks for having me back, Gareth, for the final race of the season here at Singapore. Should hopefully be a good one. This track blends street circuit with standard circuit racing, which is always great to see, and plenty of places to overtake and get to see some action here. But yeah, like you mentioned, still a title fight inbound here, and hopefully we get not only the two title contenders fighting away, but everyone else on circuit as well.
And that's not all that's happening at the moment. There is also constructors happening as well. There's only 8 points between Alfa Romeo and Aston Martin. There's only one Alfa Romeo driver turned up as of yet, and there is an outside chance of McLaren doing well from I think it was Tamas's early championship battle he was involved in. So McLaren outside shot, but they need an awful lot of luck on their side for that to happen. But anyway, Ollie, Singapore as a track I think is rather it's closed. It's a closed circuit, but there's some openness, especially down into turns 1 and into turn 7, which could cause, and you suppose into 14 as well, which can cause a fair few overtaking opportunities.
Yeah, like I said, Gareth, it's a good mix of street circuit as our first flying lap by Tamas, the 37 flat. But yeah, like I said, it's a mix between your standard circuit racing and the street circuit. Obviously, coming down to turn 1, 7, and 14 are the main overtaking opportunities at the circuit. But I'm sure with these drivers, they'll try and get their noses in front at certain parts of the circuit as well. So plenty of action. But then you've got the tight section 2 coming through turn 11, 12, and 13. Near the old Singapore Sling, which is very technical, and we've seen plenty of drivers make mistakes through there as well. So it's a mixed circuit here, and it should provide some great racing. But safety cars are expected at circuits like this.
And Lethal Sniper already showing why he's top of the championship. He is 0.2 of a second quicker than Hassif in second at the moment. Tamas only managed a 37.0, but as you were saying about safety cars, they can be quite a premium here at Singapore. It doesn't look like it is going to be raining, so hopefully it means we'll have a full dry race where these guys can really strut their stuff. And there goes Lillian. He's got 6/10 on the championship's leader, and Lillian is really deciding to, let Lethal Sniper that he's not going to be. It's not an easy race for him today.
No, not at all. That's a phenomenal lap by the Alpine driver. And I wish I could have been on board with him and maybe like a comparison, Gareth, between the both laps, because that's a super lap by the Alpine driver, and we'll see whether anyone can get into the 35s here, because again, that was his first lap, so that time surely will come down again. But that was one hell of a lap, and it'd be interesting to see whether anyone can match that.
I'm on through with Nardi Perez as they come through, or into turn 16, through the Esplanade, which is turn 17, down into the Bay, which is 18, and there is a tyre, and I'm guessing that's Christian Godoy's tyre from his Ferrari, just lent up against the barrier, through into 23, down into 22 and 23 for the final two cornies as Nardi Perez, and across the line. It was an invalidated lap, so there's not a lap time going on there. So that was unfortunate for me on that one. Christian Sendel then, someone that we know can produce a cracking lap, and let's see what he can do. 18 drivers so far here for Tier 2. We're looking forward to how they will handle the pressure at this street circuit. And Christian Sendel heading down into Connaught, which is turn 14.
I didn't realise we had names at this circuit, Gareth, for the corners. That's a new surprise to me, but goes through into the obviously in the last sector here. Couple of tight and twisty corners through this section, and then you go underneath the stands to sort of come to the end of the lap. And this part of the circuit, Gareth, very tricky, and any mistake through here will cost you a heap of time. Not only in the race, but in qualifying as well. But it looks like Christian Sendel is pulling into the pits for a mistake at one point on that lap. So he pulls in, and hopefully we can see another flying lap from him later on in the race.
Dmitry Pantalev then getting very close to the exit of the to the wall and the exit of turn 21, and across the line he goes for a 39.3. Who else could be on a lap time for us? Alex Game. Let's see, I think he could be on a lap as well. I wonder if Nadi Perez is doing another lap. Might be worth checking Nadi Perez as he is coming through the latter stages of the race. Or the lap for qualifying through turn 21, around 22 and 23. Let's see if he will be putting a lap time on for me this time, and across the line for the Mercedes driver, and there's no lap time again. So I'm getting far too excited about that Mercedes driver tonight.
Yeah, it looks like he's now doing his lap, Gareth, but again, unfortunately, he's just cut the corner too much and he's invalidated this lap as well. So Nadi Perez has got a bit of work to do to try and keep that car within the track limits, because keeps on going at this rate, Gareth, his penalty count at the end of the race will not be a pleasant reading.
Definitely not, and that's not exactly what he would have wanted in his first race of Tier 2 under the commentary of yourself and mine. Alex then clipping the wall at the exit of 14, and really going deep into 16 as well, so he's got to be careful a little bit. I wonder if there's any front wing damage. It doesn't look like there's any front wing damage to that Williams, but it is very odd to see a car drive through a floating tyre. But again, deep into 20, maybe just struggling with the setup they've got on at the moment, and round the final two corners then across the line for Alex, and it's a 140.6, just slower than Emilio Sach.
Yeah, I think a good banker up, Gareth. You know, you want to get something on the board, and still 8 minutes after the session. There's still time for the track to grip up, and the guys get used to the circuit. They've only got 18 minutes to get a couple of laps in, so there's not much time at all. I'm glad I'm in the comms box, not driving around this circuit, and it's not an easy circuit, compared to other ones on the calendar. I said though, Alex, commentator's curse, Gareth, he was purple in the first sector, and unfortunately then he invalidates it. So unfortunately for Alex, he's have to come into the pits now for another lap. But yeah, like I said, early bank lap for him, and hopefully we'll see him nearer up the top as the procession progresses through.
I just saw a big moment for Andres Lopez as he exits. Well, yeah, it was turn 12. Just lost the back end a little bit, and big moment for them. Lethal Sniper then as he's coming through into the old Singapore Sling. See what they can do as Tamas has retired. I wonder where that is on track, and if it was on track or if it was...
Yeah.
It was? Oh.
He's gone straight on turn 14. It looks like Gareth misses breaking point, and that's the looks to be from the angle I was at, was the front right gone on that car. Tried to turn in, and unfortunately that's him in the wall and out of qualifying. I mean, not a bad lap from Gareth, 37 flat, but if you look at the times above him and all the people who've still yet to do lap times, they're down to 5th already. There's someone jumped up, so yeah, that's going to be a struggle, especially at this circuit when it's so difficult to overtake as well, Gareth.
Yeah, it was Andreas Loff that threw himself into P2, P3, and then Lethal Sniper then just beating Lillian's time for the time being. Let's go on board with Lillian as they come down from 13 to 14. Let's see, there's no McLaren parked up into the wall there. It looked reminiscent of an F1 manager crash, that, but where the cars just decide to drive into the wall, but I'm pretty sure Tamas wouldn't have done that on purpose. Let's see what Lillian then can do as Tamas is continuing to drop down the order a little bit. I think that's Rafa Martin. Martin's getting through just ahead of him on the timing board there. Net Cruz Karma into P6 for the time being. Lillian hopping over the curb, and it's 0.2 of a second quicker than Lethal Sniper on this occasion. It looks like this one is going to be all about those two and flexing their muscles to see who can go where.
Yeah, the fact he made a few mistakes on the lap as well, Gareth, so there's still time to find. He lost the back end through 21, copping over the curb, and still managed to set a 35.6. So, I think there's still time to find in that lap, really, and there's still plenty of time to get another lap in. But at the moment, like you said, it's a 2 wave fight between first and second, Lillian and Lethal Snipers. So we'll see whether anyone can get involved with the two-way fight. But at this rate, Gareth, it's just those two.
At the moment, it seems like that anyway. Janej Dovzan then hopping over the curbs and has decided he's possibly lost a lot too much time and popping himself into the pits. Is Dmitry Panteleev on a lap? I think he's just about to start one, so he's heading down this second long straight with a kink in it, which is turn 6 and into turn 7. And it looks like it's nice and steady at the moment for the Williams driver, heading into turns 8. And that can be an overtaking opportunity if the driver ahead of you, or if yourself, has made a mistake out of turn 7, because people will try and catch you, well, napping in that sort of area. And it's I don't want to say an easy place to overtake, but somewhere that you can overtake, which doesn't have that many consequences to it.
Yeah, we have seen Gareth, you and I commentate a few times, instances at that corner though, when drivers just try to go side by side and just hasn't worked out very well, and hopefully we don't get that this evening. But there are the exit of turn 8 there is a bit tricky, so we'll see whether we can see guys go side by side through there. But like much of the circuit, Gareth, there's just pinch points all over the place, so hopefully every team has a full front wing at the end of this race, but I can't imagine that'll be true.
No, it's front wings here well, taken off quite often. Anyway, Dimitri across the line. I don't think it's any quicker from him, unfortunately. Who could now be on a lap time? Is Hasif doing anything special on this lap? The Alpha Tauri driver, we've seen show some good promise here in ORL, in the races we've commentated on. Netcruise then into P3, trying to ignite some sort of championship battle today. He's still nearly a second off his championship rival, but he needs everything going right. And, well, he's just got to do his own race and see what happens at the end. Hasif into the pits. I did think that might be into the pits with the way he was driving. It was a little bit aggressive. I think it was just trying to get himself back into the pits quickly. His Emilio Sachs probably is just about to start a lap time instead of just about to finish one. No, he is just about to finish one. It's a 1:39.989. So pulling himself away from Alex in P14 at the moment is Rafa Martins. I think he's just finished a lap, hasn't he?
He has, it looks like, but he's flying into turn 1, so he shouldn't have said anything, Gareth, because he's just invalidated through turn 2. So yeah, I think he was going for another lap, but I don't think, well, obviously he can't now, unfortunately. Some yellow flags up ahead for one reason or another. Not sure what that's for, but yeah, unfortunately Rafa Martins there will have to go again and hopefully get out the way of everyone else. And he's got 2 minutes left. He won't have time to go into the pits, guys, so he's got to set that lap time. If he wants to get up higher, have to be on those set tyres.
Yeah, not going to be easy for him. Let's go on board with Alex, I think, coming through the old Singapore sling now and into turn 13. And this is another place where people will try a little bit of a dive bomb, unsettle the driver ahead. You've got to think about that as the driver behind as well, very deep into 14. I wonder if that's invalidated as a lap time. I'm not sure. But who's the other? It was Dovzan that was around coming out of the pit lane. So I'm not sure what he did, which caused the yellow flag. But anyway, the Williams driver of Alex is coming through these final few corners now. Can he put up a time that beats Emilio? We'll wait and see as he rounds the final 2 corners now and across the line. It's a little bit quicker, but not too much, I think.
No, yeah, I think we've got 3/10 quicker on that lap. He did hit the wall of the exit of 14, Gareth hit on board with him a big old clunk as he hit that wall. I'm not sure it cost him too much time, but obviously not quick enough to improve, but not to move up the table, unfortunately. So we'll see whether he goes. Looks like he's going for one more lap, actually, so we'll see what he can do on this lap. He'll be one of the first guys finishing here.
So we'll have Lethal Sniper versus Lillian, I think, on the final lap. I think they're both going to go for it from here. So 38 seconds remaining of qualifying, and it will be first up Lethal Sniper, second Lillian as the final drivers to set a lap time. Alex has retired from the session. He has crashed out somewhere, I believe, because we're only just shortly on with him. Andreas Loff then puts himself into P3 provisionally. But let's see what Lethal Sniper, the Alfa Romeo driver, the current championship leader, we shall not forget that as well, as I think he may have invalidated because he's going slow.
Yeah, he has, unfortunately, Gareth, and he's let his rival in the qualifying session through, and that is the checkered flag out. And we'll see whether Lillian can improve on that 35.6 here, or anyone else can challenge, but I don't think anyone else will. Gareth, the top two are head and shoulders above everyone else at the moment.
That's definitely right. Nardi Perez, Christian Sendel, both yet to set lap times as well. That's an interesting point for those two drivers, and we will wait and see as Lillian hops over the curb there in the old Singapore sling into turns 11 and 12 now. A little bit of a tight, twisty chicane over the bridge into turn 13, which, well, pretty much a hairpin down the next straight into all the way to turn 14, which is quite a distance away. It's looking relatively soft and smooth for the Alpine driver at the moment.
Yeah, he's flying through this part of the circuit into the final sector, which is a lot more twisty compared to the first two sectors, and he nails that part. Obviously, the crash get happened many years ago. Under the tunnel he comes, and into the final 3 or 4 corners as Christian Sendel, out of nowhere, as a 35.2. Where does that come from? But can Lillian beat that? Can he beat a 35.2? No, he can't. He's gone quicker, Gareth, but a 35.6 for Lillian, and Christian Sendel, the man we weren't even talking about, flies and gets pole position here at Singapore.
Wow. Talk about a sucker punch at the end for these two. We knew Sendel was quick, but he completely sent it at the end to claim pole, but he just never really was able to set a lap time together. I think that was the problem for Christian Sendel. He struggled to get a lap time together, and but he managed to do it when it counted. We've had 3 drivers unable to set lap times. That's Christian Godoy, who crashed out early on. Nardi Perez just couldn't seem to hook a lap together, and Andres Lopez unable to as well. What a different qualifying we've had here in Singapore at the end, as we're just seeing Emilio's car come round for some reason or other. But it is Christian Sendel then on pole position from the death, narrowly beating Lillian's. Lethal Sniper in third. Fourth is Andreas Loff. Fifth is the Scotsman Necruz. Hassif in sixth. Seventh to Rafa Martins. Eighth to Karmar. Tamas in ninth. And 10th to Kirei G. Dovzan, Robbie Van, Dmitry Pantelev, Emilio, Alex, Andreas, Nardi Perez, Christian Godoy are the final, the other drivers to finish outside of the top 10. Ollie, that's an interesting qualifying.
Yeah, there's quite a difference with some of the drivers. The top 3 are in their own, I don't want to say own league, because that's not true, but there's quite a significant gap. But a one lap, a one flying lap here compared to however many laps we've got at this circuit is 2 different ball games. So it's so much more concentration that's needed. Lap after lap, safety cars can come into play. Overtaking isn't easy here either. So I think, like I said, qualifying's one story and the race is another story.
Yeah, and that is... I'm not sure how this is going to pan out, because Christian wasn't able to set a lap time early on. So is he gonna struggle into the race? With penalties and everything. Yeah,
well, it could very well happen. It's difficult to predict this one, Gareth. It's far more difficult than usual, especially this sort of type of street circuit.
Right then, we're just about to start here. Let us know in the chat who you think is going to take victory. Ollie, quick one word from you for who's going to take victory.
Lillian.
Lillian, for you. Okay, we're on 5 laps here at Singapore ROL, and we're underway racing. And it looks like a pretty good start there from Christian Sendel and Lillian holding station. A little bit of lag with Andreas Loft trying to attack around the outside into, with Netcruise and Hassif battling away as well. And I think Dovzan's had a pretty good start, but there is a little bit of a lag as Dovzan is trying up the inside. And oh my goodness, that's Christian Sendel into the wall at turn number 5.
My word, Gareth, we mentioned how different quali and the race would be, and within 10 seconds, 15 seconds, our poleman is out of this Grand Prix, hitting the wall at the exit of 5. I didn't see whether it was contact. Gareth was on board with Dovzan coming through that first sector, but really unfortunate for poleman here, and we're down to 7 drivers in the safety car out already. I can't imagine we'll see many people in unless they've got damage for one reason or another at the start, but wow, did not see that happening.
Definitely not. Dovzan then up 5 places, Lopez up 5 places as well. The biggest loser, obviously, other than Sendel, is Tamas down 3. It just looked like there was a few people that just got a bit bogged down at the start and cost them. But anyway, let's have a look at the tyre strategy people have chosen. And Dovzan on a set of mediums. That could be why he was a little bit quicker off the start. Robbie Van and Alex all both on the mediums as well. So Lopez, starting on the hards and managing to gain 5 places, is a pretty good stat from him from the start. Obviously, the safety car nullifies any sort of advantage that you might have got from a really good start.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. There wasn't too many gaps at the start there. Well, difficult to sort of see what was happening in the midfield. It was just chaos, as it usually is. But see whether anyone comes into the pits. It looks like there's an Alpine in. Karma is coming into the pits. Can't see the damage on that car, but he's on a set of hards, Gareth, so it could be. Well, do you know we usually see the strategy? They come in and they come out again. They sort of do 2 pit stops in a safety car period. Surely it's too early for the hards to go at the end.
I think going into the end is on the set of hards at this point is asking a lot. But we've seen time and time again that drivers produce the most incredible strategies out of the hat. But at the moment, the other thing they've got to think about. I'm just talking to myself here. Sorry, Ollie, but is now Karma and Nadi Perez onto a set of mediums. They don't have to pit again. They do have to pit again, but they can pit onto the same set or another set of mediums. So they've kind of got a stronger strategy than the other medium runners out there.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's a great point you've made there. And they could be one to contend with at the end of the race if they can stay within reaching distance of the guys ahead. And really interesting strategy from those guys. In the early stage, I think there was a front wing change for Nadi Perez. He was a bit delayed at the back of the pit lane there, obviously the front of the pit lane as he was in the Mercedes. But yeah, I'll be really keeping an eye on these guys as they see whether they can progress through. Quite a few hard runners up ahead of them, so especially in the early stages they'd be wanting to really utilise those medium tyres to full effect on the safety car resets. Hopefully should be one more lap maybe, Gareth, of safety car, and then we'll get going here at Singapore and hopefully see some great racing.
Yeah, I'm certain that we'll see some racing, some great racing when we get back to racing again. I feel so sorry for Christian because throwing in that lap at the end, really putting the cat among the pigeons with it all. With obviously both of us thinking really Lillian versus Lethal. And he's thrown himself in there, and then it's just all, unfortunately, not gone well. We'll probably get one more lap under the safety car, I think, and then be racing again on lap 4, or when we turn onto lap 4. And Netcruise, Andreas Loff have a little bit of hard work to do if they are to really put pressure on Lillian and Lethal Sniper.
Yeah, unfortunately, Christian Sendel has not said anything in the chat, so I was hoping maybe we could explain what happened there, but unfortunately he hasn't. But Karma back in the pits, Gareth, and another set of mediums and a front wing change for him. So he's now at the back of the grid because Nolly Perez got through past him, obviously, in the pit lane. So good to see him back out, obviously, and obviously needed that front wing. I didn't know whether he made a mistake on that lap. Must have made it on that lap because I didn't see any mistakes from him. But we'll see how he can do the restart here. But yeah, I'm just look forward to getting some racing under our belts here. It's just a bit of a stagnant start sort of thing.
Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate, isn't it, to get a safety car pretty much immediately, especially at Singapore. You need a lap or two to have something to work with while commentating. However, we can speak about Netcruise though. Netcruise obviously has an outside chance of winning the title, but he really needs. Well, I think he desperately needs a win, and Lethal to have an awful race.
Yeah, what is that? That's 13 points swing between them at the moment. So like you said, he needs to pretty much win it and Lethal Sniper to have a poor result, and that's that they don't come very often. Gareth, the safety car, it will be in on at the end of lap 3. So Gareth, the best he can do, he's just got to run his own race, and hopefully that Lethal Sniper makes a mistake or there's a strategy error from him. That's all he can do. His teammate is down in 8th, so that's not going to help him either. So it's we'll see how the race progresses here, but we'll see how Lillian does a restart here.
Yeah, let's see. Obviously, huge chance for Lillian to pull away from Lethal Sniper from the go, and he's already gone, and Netcruise is already all over the back of Lethal Sniper as they come around turns 22 and 23 down the start-finish straight they go, and what a restart there from from Lillian. But Lethal Sniper is immediately right back at them. They've left Andreas Loff for dust in the background. Hassif's in the dust as well. But what a restart from Lillian. But it hasn't really caught Lethal Sniper out. It initially did, but there must have been a little bit of let-off so going through turns 22 and 23, which has cost him big time. There's huge movement going on down below, as in the background there you've got Kamar, Dmitry Pantalev, and then someone into the wall maybe?
Christian Gaudy is in the wall, Gareth, at turn 5. Didn't see what happened there, but front wing change needed for the Ferrari man.
Not ideal for him at all. Back up to the leaders. Netcruise being dropped a little bit now by Lethal Sniper and Lillian. He tried to do something off the restart, and it just hasn't unfortunately worked for Netcruise. And he's going to, continue to give as good as he can get, but there's Lethal Sniper getting very close to the wall, but no damage to him, thankfully, and Andreas Loff has been recaught by Hassif, but look how close Janej Dovzan is to the AlphaTauri. Up the inside he goes into 14. Is a switchback available for Hassif? He's going to try, but there's not enough on this occasion for him.
Fantastic move by Dovzan there. More yellow flags, and we've got Alex out at the Grand Prix as well, Gareth. He's gone too deep into 14. We have a second safety car within 4 laps here of Singapore, unfortunately, there. And just want to talk about that move by Dovzan there, Gareth. Great move up the inside, late on the brakes, and somehow got that car stopped in time at turn 14. But another victim. We saw it in qualifying as well as a few pit stops for the drivers here. But yeah, we don't like to see so many safety cars, Gareth. We want to get racing, and we haven't had many laps. I think we've not had one complete lap yet without a safety car. Racing laps, anyway.
Intermediate tyres going on Dovzan and Rafa.
They obviously know more than we do, Gareth. Can't see any rain on circuit at the moment, but maybe it's due in 2 or 3 laps, and they're preempting the rain. But that's an early call, and if it doesn't come almost instantly after the safety car restart, Gareth, they'll be sitting ducks and they'll slip straight down the grid behind Dmitry Pantalev and Christian Gaudy here. But Gaudy's gone on to a set of medium, so whether that's a mistake there or maybe even they're doing it so they don't have to use a fresh set of dry tyres. Maybe I'm very perplexed by this.
it's odd that two drivers have done it. I think that's the very, very odd. There's definitely no rain. It doesn't. I mean, when you're looking at a dark sky, especially on a game, you can't really tell if there's clouds or not. But it doesn't feel like there's clouds, and this is a very, very odd strategy to be having. At least it's giving us something to talk about on that front, especially after such a great move into turn 14 to Dovzan. He obviously had that extra grip, extra pace about him. And is that Lillian into the safety car there? It did look like he was in the safety car for a little bit. But yeah, interesting to say the least with the strategies. But I still think a cracking overtake from Dobzan at least has given us something.
Yeah, it has. As our race... I thought race leader was going to pull into the pits there, but Duke's out of it last minute. Yeah, that was, like I said, a great move by... we've got a few more guys in the pits actually, Gav. So I was just thinking, the guys who have put those inters on, whether they... Well, they're staying out, Gareth. So obviously there must be rain at one point. I thought it might be, like I said, they're slipping on a set of tyres and jump back on a set of dries, but there obviously is rain if more people are going onto those intermediate tyres. Rain is inbound here in the Middle East, in the Far East.
Yeah, and rain at Singapore, something that not many drivers really ever want, but it's an interesting one. They've gone early onto the set of intermediates, but I mean, it really does depend. If they've timed it right, it might work, but it's got to start raining now.
Yeah, and the top, what's that? The top 10. Obviously, people have moved up and down within there, but they've all not pitted, so they think it's not due. There's guys below them that aren't predicting the rain. So unless, Gareth, the rain will come, but it'll be a short spell, and the guys can try and eke it out on a set of dries, maybe, rather than doing an extra 2 pits, an extra stop at one point in this race. So I think there's a few different options here. And it'll be interesting to see when this rain comes, because that's the key point here. The track is bone dry, and those tyres, those inter tyres, will just heat up, and you'll be like rolling around with wheels that are covered in oil. There'll be no grip whatsoever.
Yeah, very interesting as well that we've had so many hard runners at the start as well, with rain inbound, likely rain inbound at this point. And there we go. There is some rain falling now. We are, at that point on the track, which is 15, 16, 17, there was some rain falling. Let's see if there's any rain on screen. There is just a little bit coming down the cars from Lethal Sniper's point of view, but we will be getting racing very, very shortly. The safety car is going around the final few corners now. When does Lillian decide to go? He went early last time. He's holding back a little bit this time, keeping everyone at bay. Let's look at it from Lethal Sniper's point of view, and he's gone this time a little bit earlier than turn 22, and it hasn't really caught anyone out this time, but the intermediate tyres are on, and I think there's a pit for Robbie Van. Is he going on to intermediates as well? There's overtaking happening in the background. There we go, with Carmar getting past Emilio, and those are really going to be interesting to see how these intermediate runners hold the pressure right now.
Yeah, some ball with Christian Gotti as he comes through 5 here, and see if he can zoom past these intermediate runners, because definitely not ready for those inter tyres yet. A mistake. Oh, up he goes, trying to get past team. There's contact between the Ferraris there, and that's not ideal for them. And there's someone else that's Hassan trying to get through as well in the background, Gareth. It's all happening at the back of the grid, and some lines start to form on circuit now. It's difficult to tell when the switchover period is. I don't think it's just yet, but some great racing between dry and inter tyres between Hassan and Christian Gotti.
Yeah, there was a few overtakes happening. Dovzan getting past Dovzan and Rafa getting past Emilio as it's all kicking off. I think it's just... Oh, and there goes Christian Gotti into the wall. A bit too much power down on board of him as he was battling away with Hassif. and it just wasn't to be, and he's into the wall again. That is not ideal for him. Up to the leaders here, and Lillian and Lethal Sniper trying to pull away a little bit, a little by little. Dovzan is quite a distance away from the leaders, so they've got a little bit of time to go out and do anything, but from this point they will not need to pit again if they go on to inters and it stays dry. Lillian, fastest man on the track. That is how little we've had racing, is that we've had to wait until this point to get the fastest lap. But there's contact between Key G and Nardi Perez, who is now nearly into the pits but the wrong way, and he's having to spin around to get himself through.
That's really unfortunate for Perez there, and he's down to 13th now, and that's going to be a long way back. But Gareth, it's interesting, obviously, Lillian fast lap of the race there, so clearly it's not time for inters yet. Maybe Dosvan was going to get the fast lap there, but not through at the end of lap 7 here. Up ahead there's more action, and between Tamas is around as well, Gareth. Whether that was contact or not, I'm not sure, but there's a lot of action happening after this restart.
Yeah, it's called kicking off everywhere. It looks like a little bit of trouble for Net Cruz as well. He's struggling to keep Andreas Loff at bay, and this is not ideal for them. And there's another crash there, and it is Andreas Loff on the bridge. We're surely going to get a safety car for that, and that is not great. 5-second penalty for Christian Godoy, sorry. And wow, we are that's the third driver we've lost, and just as we were talking about him as well.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate for Loff. Another quick driver, and that has neutralised the pack now, and I can imagine every single driver, minus those on inters, will be flying into the pits. Oh, that's Lethal Sniper hitting the wall, Gareth. He's hit the wall under the bridge, and that's going to add a couple of seconds to his pit stop, and that could be the difference between himself and Net Cruz getting through here.
Yeah, let's have a look at. Let's go on board with Net Cruz. This is the best way for it, and look at Key G, showing great awareness to drop back so he doesn't get caught with the double stack on the pit lane. It's a 3-second gap between Lethal and Net Cruz, and unfortunately Key G getting a penalty there. Not ideal. Into the pits. Quick change over tyres for the Alfa Aston Martin, and a perfect timing pretty much, but Net Cruz crucially in front of that Alfa Romeo.
Definitely, and it could be seeing if anyone else coming down the straight, but all the guys who pitted earlier are through, and crucially Net Cruz through. And of all times to make a mistake, Gareth, under the safety car is not one of those, and unfortunately, like we've said, Net Cruz loses a place to Net Cruz gains a place over Lethal Sniper here. And interestingly, Gareth, as well, Lillian's gone for full wets here in Singapore, while everyone else on a set of inters, minus Emilio, who's still on a set of hards for one reason or another, clearly is wet on circuit. But I'm perplexed at the direct tyre choice by Lillian. Obviously, he thinks that it's going to get harder as the race progresses on. But he might struggle in the early stages of this race with using full wets compared to inters.
Interestingly, the AlphaTauri and the Ferrari of Lopez and Hassif swapping positions there. Not once, but twice. But yeah, Lillian on a set of wets, but maybe he's doing exactly what Dovzan Martins did. And it's anticipating the heavier Wayne.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. He might, short-term loss for long-term gain, as they say, Gareth, and that could be exactly what our race leader former race leader is doing here. It'd be interesting to see whether he can defend P6 here, or whether he'll slip back behind Net Cruz. And obviously Net Cruz, this it's still all in the balance here, and how they all get through. And luckily for Net Cruz now, Gareth, Key G is directly behind Lethal Sniper, so he's going to help hopefully his teammate out, and also obviously with the standings as well, the constructors especially, how close it is between Alfa Romeo and Aston Martin. So still plenty to play for in this race on lap 9. We'll go around once more before we get going here, and that's looks like Emilio finally decides to put a set of wet weather tyres on.
You know what? It does look like it's getting heavier. Let's look at it from Hasif's point of view, it does look like the rain might be getting a little bit heavier. Maybe Lillian has just provided a absolute hero move for the Alpine team. We'll have to wait and see a little bit later on in this one. But I mean, we're lap 10. We've lost 3 drivers and we've had 2 racing laps. This is how Singapore can be. It's such a tight track. One mistake and it could be costly. No one was expecting Christian Sendel at the exit of turn 5 to bin it and go straight into the wall. He's been so consistent when I've seen him race. So really unfortunate for him. I can't remember what happened to Alex, but obviously it caused a safety car. And then Andreas Loff under the bridge at the exit of turn 12, just losing the back end under the wet weather conditions. And, well, the rest is history.
Yeah, it was Alex who went deep into 14 Gareth and lost his front right tyre. That caused a second safety car, but yeah, it's unfortunate to lose 3 drivers like that. And Christian and also has also retired in the pit lane, so we're down to 14 drivers now here in Singapore. It's a tough race, Gareth. It really is. It's a long evening of driving, and there's no respite. Well, obviously a safety car, but there is barely any, because even down the second straight, the main overtaking opportunity here at Singapore, there's a kink in that straight. You've got to be careful, especially in the wet conditions as well. There's even more to deal with. And I think you're right with the how heavy this rain is, guys. It's really coming down now, so maybe Lillian has made the right choice here. We'll have to wait and see on the restart. But yeah, it's been a hectic start to the final race of the season, and yeah, didn't expect it to play out like this, but it has. And hopefully, like you said, we get some racing, because we only had 2 racing laps pretty much, which is really unfortunate. We want to see how good these guys are, and yeah, we're not being able to see that. But it looks like we're going round one more behind the safety car, due to, well, we've been a little bit too far back off the back of the safety car. But yeah, guys, we just wanted some racing. That's what we want here.
Yeah, just a little bit would do us. Would do us fine. Pouring it down here at Singapore, it is completely intermediate tyres for certain, and it's going to be very interesting to see how Dovzan and Rafa really work this out. At currently leading the way, Karma has gone into the pits for a set of wets. He's maybe thinking that Lillian chose right. And if they pit now and then these intermediates guys have to go on to a set of wets, they're going to be so far down. In the background there, Hasif nearly losing the back end, trying to heat up those tyres a little bit. And these intermediates, there's a perfect temperature for them to be in. And if it's too cold or too hot, it really does affect your driving.
Yeah, on the restart, Gareth, they're going to be tiptoeing around the circuit. Those tyres will not be in the best place they want to be, behind the safety car for so long, and they can weave and they can brake hard as much as they want. It won't do full effect as racing at full speed will. So it's going to be a manic restart, and hopefully all the cars get through. But we'll definitely see, I'm sure, a spin as Reggie again, and almost loses the back end. Obviously, trying to heat those rear tyres up, but it's tricky. It's hard enough on with cold, dry tyres, let alone wet tyres, guys, or intermediate tyres in this case. So we'll see how they negotiate the start. But again, I wouldn't surprise me. I don't think we'll see too many sort of legit overtakes. I think if anything, it'll be overtaking because of mistakes happening from drivers trying to find the grip at this Singapore circuit.
Safety car is in this lap, and I will ask again in the chat, with everything being turned on its head with the rain, who do you think is going to take victory? Ollie, I'll give you a refresh as well. You can get to re-choose.
I still think it's Lillian, Gareth, with how wet it is on circuit. A stroke of masterclass here from him, and obviously they all knew that he was going to get wetter here at Singapore, but he timed it right. And I think obviously with everyone will likely need to pit unless they can stay out those inters. He's in prime position, as Hassett going very slowly for one reason or another, and he's lost a load of time, almost 6 seconds. I'm not sure what's happening here, and that could affect a lot of things here if he doesn't catch up with the safety car.
I'm just trying to see from Lillian's point of view. He's trying to overtake Hassif, and that is very odd. This is Very odd indeed. It's like a second safety car. And there's Hassif. He's around. Let's go on board with the race leaders who have gone and done and dusted. And Lopez is trying to make a move on Rafa as they come into turn 1. It has... But he's gone too deep for turn 2. Is he going to have to concede the position because of that? I'm not 100% sure. But there's a 7.5 seconds that Hassif gave up there. That was... or gave these front 3. That's a very... very questionable move from the AlphaTauri driver, but we'll have to wait and see. Rafa really struggling a little bit. Going back further down, there's overtakings happening all over the place. Emilio trying to get through, or Karma trying to get through Emilio, and there's a little bit of contact, but not too much, and Karma manages to get through safely. But the wets definitely seem to be the tyre to be on. Emilio trying to fight back, but there's nothing happening at the moment, and we've got to go on board with the championship battle, which is Netcruise versus Lethal Sniper.
Yeah, that's what we want to see, how this plays out. And Netcruise under a little bit of pressure here from the man behind him. It's all coming down to this final race this season here at Singapore, and you can definitely see, Gareth, those wet tyres are the tyre to be on. Lillian closed almost a second in this lap, and it was almost, I think it was 7 seconds as he crossed the line. But it's already down a second here. So it's time to pit. Time to pit for the intermediate guys. Unless it wants to stay out a little bit longer, maybe hope the rain eases, but we'll see. But Netcruise doing well to hold off Lethal Snipers. I'm sure Netcruise is hoping that Kira G can get involved, but unfortunately for him, Nardi Perez is all over the back of the other Aston Martin.
Yeah, this is good tight stuff from P5 to P8. Unsure what's happening, and surely these guys have got to go back into the pits. That's the intermediate runners, and what happens then if it dries up towards the end of the race? Are these guys waiting for that? Because they're not coming into the pits just yet, but Kira G really struggling through the chicane. No one's risking a pit stop just yet. There goes Tamas through as well, but nothing happening. Dovzan and Lopez pulling away from Rafa, and interestingly enough, that time between for the leaders, as Nardi Perez getting past into turn 1, Kira G struggling a little bit more now, and he can't be back up to his teammate.
No, up the inside, Nardi Perez, great move. I think it may be a warning for hopping the curve as he went through, but gets through. And now the charge down to Lethal Snipers as both got a penalty over their head already, Nardi Perez and Kira G, but no moves just yet from the two drivers ahead. They're still neck and neck coming through the end of the first sector here. Obviously, it's difficult to gauge the gap because obviously Lillian's on wet tyres compared to these two. So it'll be the moment will be we've got more yellow flags in sector 2. I think that's for Pantalev in the background. But whether Nardi Perez will catch up with these guys and get involved with the fight.
Yeah, Pantalev struggling a little bit on those intermediates. But Nardi Perez has caught up with Lethal and Netcruise, and this is crucial for Netcruise right now. He needs someone just to take the annoying headache, which is Lethal Sniper, just out of the, not literally out of the equation, but just to cause Lethal Sniper a little bit of problem in behind, instead of Lethal Sniper focusing all his energy on trying to overtake Netcruise. Lopez falling behind Dovzan. Dovzan is really thriving in this weather. Over the curbs goes Lethal Sniper, but no penalty for him, thankfully. But you know, he's shown that he can be prone to a mistake here.
Yeah, for sure. But him following a slower car ahead at the moment is keeping him off. There's the rain has I was supposed to say it was eased, but I went on board with Lethal Sniper, and it's still pouring down here at Singapore. And obviously these guys get that rain is likely to ease. They wouldn't be staying out otherwise. So they're hoping that at some stage it does, and they obviously think the pit stop isn't worth the time to do it in. So they're staying out for now. But you can see Lethal Sniper is ever so slightly quicker than Netcruise, but he's not been close enough to make any move at all here. It's so difficult to overtake here generally, Gareth, but let alone in these horrific conditions here in Singapore. I'm glad I'm dry in this comms box, because I'd hate to go on circuit right now.
Look at Lethal. He's trying everything, but interestingly enough, through turn 5, he was nowhere near the apex and lost a bit of time to Netcruise. And look at the back end, wow! Netcruise nearly losing it and struggling now through turn 9. Into the old Singapore sling they come, and it's at the moment just nose to tail stuff. And Lethal Sniper unable to find a way through. Let's look at it from Lethal Sniper's point of view again as he tries to have a look anywhere through Net Cruise, but then there's a slight mistake there at the exit of turn 12, and it's cost him a chance of overtaking again. It's just a power down a little bit too early at the exit of 13, and he's lost an awful lot of time to Net Cruise. And here comes Nardi Perez, but he can't do anything into 14.
Yeah, I think Nardi Perez looks the raciest out of all three of these guys at the moment, especially in the exit of 14 there, was pushing the Alpha through the corner and just not close enough just yet. It's the smallest of margin, guys. We know how close these guys can race, and it's a millimetre missing the corner there, and braking slightly later there, and it all adds up, and you can see the gap that's formed between Nardi Perez, and he makes a mistake coming through turn 21, and then he loses a couple of tenths of a second. He's out the spray once again. He has some fresh air ahead of him as Tamas gets past. Well, no, that's actually Kirei G coming into the pits, guys. It looks like doesn't like the intermediate tyres, and he's putting on a set of wets. It looks like, but yeah, it's so difficult to drive in these conditions, and overtaking is so difficult on top of that.
Yeah, Dovzan is still pulling away from Rafa, Andreas Lopez and Rafa Martins, as a 5-second penalty and wets coming on for Kirei, and that's what we kind of expected. Lopez, though, really struggling a little bit, but if we're looking at the time between Dovzan and Lilian, it's still sticking at about 7.5 seconds, which is what it was a few laps ago. Lopez hitting the wall, but no damage, thankfully, for that Ferrari as they come through this middle sector here at Singapore at ORL. But the rain is still hammering at just at an alarming rate, and somehow these intermediate drivers are holding station. But Rafa is trying to find a way through the Ferrari ahead of him at this moment in time with Lilian closing in on them.
Yeah, he's starting to bear down now on these guys. 2.2 splitting third and fourth place, and I can imagine that gap will be, well, pretty much zero within a lap or two. You can see how much the rain is coming down, Gareth. It's a tsunami here. There's barely any visibility on board with Rafa as he behind the Ferrari and barely can see anything. I'm not sure what camera mode he's got on board, but the Ferrari makes a mistake through 20, and this could be his chance to get out of the spray of the Ferrari, but again, not close enough at the right time. But Andreas comes into the pits. He doesn't like these intermediates anymore, Gareth, and looks to be likely a wet tyre setup for the Ferrari-man and Lilian. Already 9 tenths, so clearly, Gareth, it is time for wet tyres here at Singapore.
Definitely, and he's closed the gap to Dovzan as well. And another thing, Lilian, he knows if it stays this sort of weather, he won't have to pit. So lap 16 of 31, Dovzan leaves the Grand Prix by 4.7 seconds to Rafa Martins in P2, with Lilian the original race leader. But we do have a yellow flag, and I wonder what that is for. Who has made a mistake here? Now, is it... it wasn't Pantalev. It's not Kirei G again, is it? No front wing.
Yeah, he went straight on. He missed his braking at 18 and then went into the wall on the outside of 18, and unfortunately no front wing on that car. But just a virtual safety car for this one, Gareth. Not a full literal safety car.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I think we've had our limit of safety cars in this race. I think that's could be the part of the problem for him now as well. But at least with a virtual, it nullifies some of it anyway. Some of the time lost with the front wing change, and he could, with everyone else being on intermediates, he could still get a chance of catching up if it stays like this. But Lilian, 1.7 seconds behind Rafa, who's a further 5.9 behind Dovzan, and I wonder with this virtual... Oh no, it's a drive-through penalty for Dovzan. He's not loving life now, and that's Lopez. Lopez has crashed out of this Grand Prix while he was on wet. That is huge.
He's been just before the bridge, Gareth, so very much like Andreas Loff earlier on, and no safety car for that, unfortunately, for Kirei G and anyone else in the race. But yeah, down to 13 drivers here in this session, and there's more pit. Oh, Gareth, here we go. There's some pit stops up ahead for Dos Van. What? Almost everyone is in the pits now. Clearly, it's time for wet tyres for almost everybody, and Nardi Perez serving his drive-through for speeding under the virtual safety car. But yeah, it's all happening now.
Yeah, crucially, Lethal Sniper has decided to stay out. Dovzan serving his drive-through penalty as well. I didn't think Nardi Perez had a drive-through penalty, so I'm nearly stepping out for that McLaren P5 for Robbie Van now, who's decided to stay out, as well as Emilio doing one extra lap on those. But it's all about how quick can Netcruise pull this off, because as things stand, I think he'll only have Rafa in front of him, and that would mean he's on 15 points, and he would really need Lethal Sniper to have an absolute terror of an in-lap. But I'm looking at the rain, and it doesn't seem as heavy all of a sudden.
Yeah, Netcruise goes straight on at turn 7 there. That's going to cost him a little bit of time. Yeah, it's come slightly. It's small margin, Gareth, I think. But maybe Lethal Sniper doesn't feel he needs to. He can stay out on those tyres and go a lot longer. It's difficult. Well, coming into 14, Gareth, it is horrific. So I think it's still full wet tyre time, and Lethal Sniper may come in now, and it's Karma who's not far behind him now, and that gap is closing ever quicker, corner by corner. So I think it likely he will have to put up this lap time at this lap, and where Netcruise is the key question in all this.
Yeah, currently Karma is forcing that Alfa Romeo around the track. Lethal Sniper's doing a great job of keeping the car on track. Fair play to him, but surely he'll dart into the pits. He wanted a great in-lap, but I don't think he's got as good one as he probably would have hoped. Dovzan, will he pit this lap? He's got to. But let's go on board with Netcruise, who is coming round these corners. He's passed Emilio. That is how quick he's been going. Tamas is just behind as well. And I'm guessing Netcruise is hoping that Tamas will get out in front of Lethal Sniper. But onto a set of wets now for the Alfa Romeo driver. But where is Netcruise in all this? He's coming down the straight. He's passed the Alfa Romeo, and it's by some distance, I think, at the moment.
Yeah, and annoyingly for Lethal Sniper, Emilio's got through as well, and look in the background, can Tamas get through as well? They're side by side coming through turn 3 and 4 there, Gareth, and Tamas just pips Lethal Sniper on the exit of 4, and now that's another car. But great fault for Netcruise, and they've got Emilio ahead. They should fly past the Red Bull driver. He's on a different strategy. Pantalev gets a penalty for corner cutting, but the crucial thing here is, up the inside late lunge. No, can't make it through there. But Tamas is between championship rivals here, Gareth.
Yeah, and Tamas still has a real outside chance of this as well. This rain, and he's gone sideways. Tamas has gone sideways through turn 9 there, and that has cost him 2 positions. And Nardi Perez is quite well. Look at Lethal Sniper and Netcruise were neck and neck, and now there's 6.1 seconds. But Nardi Perez, shown how quick he can be, is really putting pressure on Lethal Sniper, and I feel for Tamas there, because it was just the back end step out, and he had nothing he could do to stop that.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, obviously he's lost 2 places here, but he's still within the fight as Netcruise gets past Robbie Van. Robbie Van's not making it easy for the Aston Martin driver. Had to go around the outside of turn 16 there. That's quite an audacious move, and he makes it work there for Netcruise's Lethal Sniper. All happening through 16 and 17 here. They're going to go 2 abreast, surely not into the tunnel. They're going to try it. Hassett and... Oh, no! Oh. And he's around! He's around under the tunnel, Gareth! Lethal Sniper is around! He's got to a 360. He's down to 11th place. And this moment, this exact moment underneath the tunnel could be the difference between Netcruise and Lethal Sniper winning the title.
Is that Glock moment all over again. Dovzan, however, has decided to stay out. Karma's in a little bit of a... Because he's... Dovzan being overtaken by Rafa Martins there, but Netcruise needs to dispatch Dovzan and Martins to win this championship. Oh my goodness, this is really crucial stuff right now. Robbie Van is still within... Well, there's so much going on. This is mental stuff.
Mental. And it just adds to the drama. We thought maybe this race a bit boring. The rain has come down. Everyone, the race leaders are, the championship leaders are together. We know what's going to happen, but you just can't take your eyes off the racing, Gareth. And we saw that there, for good or for bad. It's just added an extra spice to this race as Netcruise now P5. We should get P4 shortly off Dosvan due to the tie difference. But what a race we had so far. And we barely mentioned, guys, Lillian, 14 seconds lead over Karma here. Great racing from him. Unfortunately, obviously, jumping in last minute to race in this race, not involved with the title, but great job from him. But yeah, this race has gone from a 4 out of 10 to almost 9 or 10 out of 10.
Yeah, it's nuts stuff at the moment. Where does Netcruise try and overtake the McLaren of Dovzad? He doesn't do it. So, Dovzad getting very close to the Arco barriers. But all this time, Netcruise is stuck behind Dovzad. He is losing ground to Rafa and his championship. That is what he's got to do. Up the inside, surely. No, he thinks better of it. And he's got to really push this McLaren around a little bit. He's got to go up the inside as they come down the start-finish straight. It's going to be a pretty simple move, surely. Robbie Van being passed by Hassif as well. But as things stand, 1 point to Lethal Sniper, 10 for Netcruise. Is that... Yeah, 10 to Netcruise. It's still not right for the championship for Netcruise at the moment. He's got 4.3 seconds to catch Rafa to try and claim this championship. But Lethal Sniper is catching Robbie Van. And that... It's all if, buts and maybes right now.
Yeah, I think... like you said, ifs, buts, maybes. Who knows? That could happen. There's so many words you can use to describe what's going on circuit. I think... What's interesting, Gareth, is there's guys who are staying out on inters. So it's likely this rain will ease at some point. Otherwise, why would they stay out for so long? So when that happens, the switchover, and whether the switchover as Lethal Sniper gets past Robbie Van coming into 8 to 9, as the front wing damage to the Haas, and he's in the wall. He's not out of the race, but there is big damage, and he's retired from the session, unfortunately. Will that cause a safety car? Don't think it will. But sorry, let's go back to my point. The switch of a time between the wets and the inters later on in the race, if it does happen, will be really crucial, because if it happens with a couple of laps remaining, is there a point of doing it? But if it happens earlier on, then we could see a flurry of pit stops, and that could really affect how this race finishes.
Yeah, and the fact that Dovzan is staying out as well after... He pulled off the first incredible strategy. Then Lillian pulled off the second. Oh, it's nuts right now. Lethal Sniper up into P9 now because of dispatching of Robbie Van. But I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty certain that Lethal Sniper's got his one hand on the title and the other one is stroking it right now. And it is all... too close to call. However, lap 21 of 31, we've still got plenty of racing left here at Singapore, and Dovzan is being caught by Nardi Perez.
Yes, excuse me. Yes, he is, and obviously the tie difference that was inevitable. But when does Nardi Perez make that move permanent? They're coming down towards turn number 7, and it should be an easy move, and Dosvan just lets him through. There's no point fighting that. You see how hard the rain is coming down, and I think the guys in the inters, they're obviously thinking it's going to get dry and there's no point me pitting now. I'll have to come do another stop at one point. So they're sticking out with their ideas and their strategies here. So, but that's Nardi Perez up into P5. And we've seen how quick Nardi Perez has been in this race, Gareth. Obviously, it's difficult to overtake in the rain, but he was definitely quicker than Lethal Snipers and Netcruise when they were together earlier on. So you can close that 5-second gap now over the next 10 and a half laps. He could be the man to ruin Netcruise's title fight if it... Well, who knows how it's going to end here, but he could be a cat amongst the pigeons in all this.
Netcruise is actually dropping from Rafa in P3 as well. But here comes Lethal Sniper trying to have a look at Tamas, another championship rival of his through the season. Hasn't had any luck, unfortunately, through that, and having to stay behind for the time being. Hasif then catching now Dovzan, and Lillian is into the pits. Is there another changeover? Is there another twist in the tail? No, he just wants a fresh set of soft, wet tyres on. That's all he's caring about right now. And wow, what confidence he has in himself to catch Karma, his teammate.
I think also, Gareth, it could have been he was on those tyres a little bit longer than most people have been. As Hathis gets past Dozvan in the background, he was on those tyres when everyone else was still on into, still into weather, so it could be a little bit more wear on those tyres than others, hence why he's pitted. But I mean, 8.2 seconds in what's that, 9 laps? I mean, that's bold thinking. You know, that, I mean, that's a man putting himself on the line there, Gareth. So we'll see whether it will be Calm or Lillian to potentially win this Grand Prix. And still lots could happen. So in this race, but like I said, Lillian feeling confident enough to do that.
Yeah, Lethal Sniper clipping the wall as well on turn 6 before they get to Memorial Corner, as he's battling away with Tamas. And this is all heating up very, very nicely as things stand. He just can't find a way past this McLaren right now. And they're both catching up with the other McLaren of Janej Dovzan.
Yeah. How much of a roadblock will Dozvan's teammate be? Tamas' teammate Dozvan in all this. Oh, there's a big slide for Tamas there. Unfortunately, the Sniper not close enough to make that move. He tries to move up the inside. There's a little bit of contact there. He taps the rear right of the McLaren as they come through 14. But luckily, both cars staying in a straight line here. And you can see how much they're both pushing here. And they're now looking up to the teammate as Dozvan. When does Tamas go here? Don't think they've timed this right. They've caught him at the worst part, the slowest part of the circuit they've caught him at. And when will they? They're likely both will have to wait until they get onto the straight to get past the McLaren.
This is nuts stuff right now. Lethal Sniper's trying to find any way past one McLaren, and now he has 2 McLarens to get past. What does Tamas do? Oh, big mistake there from Dovzan, and surely that's Tamas through and Lethal Sniper. Lethal Sniper's going to hold his car up the inside, and it's cost them both, and they're both into the wall. And a front wing change is required for Lethal Sniper.
And a safety car. 4th literal safety car in Singapore. We've had it all, Gareth. I don't think we could have anything else. We've had drama, we've had controversy, safety cars, full wet rain, monsoon season here in Singapore. And now this levels out the whole playing field once again in this race. And we could crown a champion here tonight, Gareth, but with that move from Lethal Sniper, that could cost him. It could be a time penalty after the race. It could be nothing. But it's all happening, and I don't think we'll hear the end of it after the race is finished.
I'm just thinking, is 40 minutes enough time to finish 8 laps, 9 laps, or 7 or 8 laps? The way things are going, maybe not.
Well, yeah, I hope so, because we've got other
round 2.
yeah, pretty much. Hassif gets a speeding penalty under the safety car, and that's not what he wanted, and obviously Netcruise didn't want that either.
No, into the pits then, Karma. Lillian will be happy with this. He will just continue on in P3 then. Let's... Rafa decides to carry on through as well. They should get in front of Karma. Karma should fit nicely, maybe 4th or 5th out of all this. Netcruise desperately needs to be in front. Now, as things stand, Netcruise still doesn't win the championship because Lethal Sniper's into P8.
Yes. However, he is in the pits now, Gareth. As should be both McLarens. Yeah, so he's not going to gain or lose any places here.
Oh,
What's that?
Hassif intermediates.
It's bold. I don't. It's still torrential at the moment on circuit. Maybe again, Gareth, they know more than we do, as we've seen already in this race with this wet weather. So he thinks the last maybe 5 laps will be ready for him. I mean, why not, Gareth? He's got to serve a drive through as well. So he's got to go balls to the wall here, and I don't blame him for trying it.
Yeah, but that drive through gives Lethal that extra position, and that is not what Netcruise needs. It's not Netcruise wants. I mean, I don't know. It would be great to hear Netcruise's thoughts, and if he ever thought it would be an option for him to get through it all. But Key-Ray G could very well try and get himself back past Tamas as well. Tamas seems to be a slippery customer most of the time as well, so it's an interesting one if Lethal Sniper will be able to hold on to P8 or move up, because Dovzan is pretty handy with defending as well. But the rain is still pouring here at Singapore. OOL has seen 4 safety cars, and this is going to be a intense end to the finale of Tier 2.
Yeah, we didn't expect to have so much action here, Gareth. I know we were going to have safety cars, obviously, at Singapore, but to have so many this evening has been, for good and for bad. At the start, we wanted to get racing, and we had 3 within, was it 8 laps? But now it's come at the end, and it's neutralised the field once again. And, yeah, it could really... What happens in the last 5 or 6 laps will, I think, determine the race and determine the season as well. And I think it'll sum up a few drivers' seasons as well with how it's gone this evening. So, but it's crazy, down to 12 drivers as well. I was hoping we'd at least get 15 of those guys through, but unfortunately mistakes and retirements for one reason or another has forced that to happen. But I think with this guy, I think we mentioned obviously Sniper getting through, but with the way he was going, Netcruise wasn't catching Rafa. And he's got an opportunity now to overtake both the drivers ahead to still have a chance at the title. Obviously, Sniper will be quick, as expected. But Netcruise has got an opportunity to potentially win this race and also win the championship. But it's slim, but it could happen.
Yeah, let's wait and see. They're slowly catching up with the field, so we could get racing again at the end of lap 26 with the way things are going. Dmitry Panteleev has gone on to a set of intermediates as well. That's another interesting strategy. I've not spoken too much about him tonight either, other than a few unfortunate mistakes for him. But yeah, I wonder how this is all going to pan out. Wow, it's all boiled down to this. The last 6-7 laps of a Singapore Grand Prix.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's been a phenomenal race. Yeah, I think I'll be happy to see the back of Singapore, Gareth, after this evening's race. But don't think... Has it been called yet, the safety car? Don't think it has. Has it? I may have missed it.
No, I haven't seen it.
No, okay. No, I just wanted to double check before I said anything, but it looks to be going out for one more lap. Here, I'm just trying to keep an eye on the rain, Gareth, and whether it's easing or not, but I can't tell. The spray is still mega, so it's unlikely to... Ooh! Lillian spun. Lillian has made a mistake coming through 21, and he is down to P7 behind Lethal Snipers. So that's not done anything, but he's letting him through.
I think that might have been the yellow flag situation there, but wow, there's another twist in the tail. Netcruise is up into P2. Oh my goodness me.
We need to get on the maths, Gareth, to try and work this all out. will do it at one point, but it's just drama after drama after drama here in Singapore. And I mean, we wanted entertainment, and we've definitely got it. We definitely have.
Wow, I'm not sure how. I just saw something happen, and I'm like, what? You know, when you see something and you don't quite believe your eyes.
You've got to scrub your eyes, mate. Did that really happen?
So wow, Netcruise up into P2. His heart rate must be through the roof. Dmitry Patalev still hasn't caught back up. He's 38 seconds behind. I wonder if the safety car is going to be out for another lap. This is an interesting territory for some of these, because wow, yeah, I think right now, if my math serves me correctly, if things stay as they are, Netcruise is a champion.
Yeah, that would put Netcruise on 112 points. And what's eighth place? That is 4 points? No.
Yeah, it's 4. Sure,
4 points. Yeah, no, yeah, just double check. Yeah, so he'd win by quite a margin as well. Oh no, sorry, no, he wouldn't. He'd win by 1 point if it stays like this. However, Haas has a drive-through.
Yep, and that just adds to the misery of maths that we have ahead of us. Lap 26 of 31, and on lap 27 we will be back racing again. With five laps of racing as well. I've just had to do quick maths as well, and I hope I got that correct. But yeah, 5 laps of racing. Netcruise can have the opportunity then to really battle it out with Rafa then. And I wonder, Hassif dropping behind Dovzan. What's happened there? Is Hassif doing what he did last time? He is. He's holding it back a little bit. I mean, maybe helping Rafa out a little bit here. This is very, very odd. Hassif Dovzan desperately trying to get past. And when does the leader go? He's gone early. He's gone at the exit of turn 21, and it's not really caught Netcruise out, but Netcruise can't get the grip as he comes through the final 2 corners, as he's struggling a little bit. Hassif massively down the order, and he's going into the pits to serve his drive-through penalty. But there is more overtaking. Lillian up the inside of Dovzan, and he could still be one to watch out for. In the background, there is Kirei G trying to attack the McLaren as well. But here comes Dovzan back attacking Lillian as they exit turn number 3 and into 4. But he's got the move done. Nardi Perez getting past Karma as well, as Lillian trying now to get... Karma trying to retake the position from Nardi Perez.
Round the outside through turn 7. That'll be a ballsy move, but he's have to go over the curb there. I don't think there was enough grip and space through there. Nardi Perez holds P3 for now, but Karma obviously not happy at losing his podium in all this, but we know how quick Nardi Perez has been in this race, and now he's charged down to the P2 man, the Netcruise.
Yep, that's going to be the one to watch, with Lillian desperately trying to get through this as well. It's not over for them yet, but we know how long it took Lethal Sniper to get past Tamas before, and now he's got Tamas's teammate Dovzan just ahead of him, and I wonder if there's anything going to happen there. Kirei G trying to find a way past Tamas now as well. Let's look at it from his point of view. He's pushing that McLaren around some of these corners. Kirei G has found a new lease of life thanks to this late safety car.
He has, hasn't he, as he come into 14. And that's the McLaren going a little bit deep here. Back end steps out. Could this be a chance coming into the next couple of corners here for Kirei G? I don't think it is. Defends well the McLaren, and I've stayed behind him through this part of the circuit. But you can see how much quicker Kirei G is. I don't know the damage to that McLaren here, but Kirei G very much quicker at this point in the race. Whoa, very close to the outside barrier there, and that's what cost him a little bit of time through there.
That is mental stuff. Let's go back onto the leaders, because it's only half a second between Netcruise and Rafa. Netcruise has found a new lease of life as well. He sees the championship ahead of him. All he's got to do right now is win the race, and he's the champion. That is as simple as it is. Wow. Tell you what, 3 laps remaining. It's anyone's game.
It is. Yeah. There's 3.5 laps to go, Gareth. Can Netcruise do it here? He got a little bit of time coming through here, and Nardi Perez closing that gap down. He doesn't want that extra stress on his shoulders, Gareth. He wants and needs to concentrate on the driver ahead of him and try and win this race. Hatton gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and he's retired in the pit lane, unfortunately. And that's down to 11 drivers here in Singapore. They're falling like flies at the moment, so that bumps up punt to leave up into P11 now. But Net Cruz was gaining time, but he's lost a little bit through here now, and you can see the cars behind of Karma, Lillian, Dosvan, all just queuing up, Gareth. Not just yet, but maybe at the end of the next lap they could be within striking distance of our P2 man.
I really need something on my stream deck to start playing the final countdown music, because this is really tense, and I think that would just help matters a little bit. In the background, we have Lethal Sniper still desperately trying to get past the McLaren of Dovzan, but it's just not happening. Tamas is holding station perfectly as well from Kirei G. It's all kicking off. But this man, Net Cruz, is losing ground to Rafa in the lead. It's 0.8 of a second. But then back down to 0.6. He's able to hold this last few chicanes so much better than anyone else.
Yeah, this is where he gains the time right at the end, the slower corners. And that's a bit of a wobble for Rafa there. But that's not, he wasn't close enough to make any move whatsoever. The problem for Net Cruz is he's not as quick in the other 2/3 of the circuit. I think his first two parts, he's just not close enough. And Nardi Perez isn't far away there. And there's a bit of a mistake through there, a bit of understeer for Net Cruz. And that's cost him a few tenths through here. They're down towards turn 7. They go for the 29th time at this race. But needs to be a lot closer, especially in these wet conditions, guys. It needs to be 2 tenths max to try and make a move down to turn 7.
Lillian pretty much allowing his teammate through there. A back-end wobble from Nardi Perez does not help him in the attack of Net Cruz. Lap 29 of 31, and it's still anyone's game. Net Cruz unable to hit the apex of turn 9 there as they head down towards the Singapore sling. Lillian now back up into P4, and well, I'm pretty certain everyone's favourite to win the race before that mistake under the safety car cost him big time. But as they round turn number 13, Nardi Perez looks like he's trying to attack Net Cruz.
Yeah, it's so difficult. You can see how much the guy's struggling with the grip coming through these corners. You can see you can hear the wheel spin. So boy, with Net Cruz coming through 13 and 14, he's struggling with certain parts of the circuit. But this is where he gains time, Gareth. Dosvan gets a penalty, and that could be the difference between Net Cruz and Sniper winning the title this evening. They're relying on other drivers, not themselves, in all this. And like you mentioned earlier, Gareth, Net Cruz now needs to win this Grand Prix, because it's certain that Lethal Sniper will get by, obviously with that penalty hanging over his head.
Karma is struggling a little bit, and here comes Dovzan. He needs to start making waves, the McLaren driver. He's found a little bit of pace. Kirei G dropping away from Tamas. Tamas has found a little bit of consistency again, trying to get himself through. Oh, back on. Oh, goodness. Was that Karma making another mistake and letting Dovzan have a little bit of a sniff as they come round the outside of turn number 5? And the McLaren driver is stuck in there, and he's got the move, surely. No, he's had to drop behind, and here comes Lethal Sniper around the outside then, and Lethal Sniper, oh my goodness me, another twist in the tail. He's been caught by Dovzan on turn 6, and that is incredible.
Hamas goes through, Kirei G goes through as well, Gareth. Lethal Sniper down to 9th place with a lap and a half to go in this Grand Prix. I'm lost for words, Gareth, with what happened there. Contact coming up to turn 7. Just when there's any contact in the rain, Gareth, they just emphasise any weaving. And unfortunately, he's in the wall as Dosvan. And that's Karma around as well to add to the mayhem on the penultimate lap. I've not done the maths yet, but surely, Gareth, surely that is Net Cruz winning the title.
He has one lap and 2 drivers that could still cause mayhem. As things stand, Netcruise, I think, is the champion, but there's so much still to be said about it. We're heading on to the final lap. Rafa has managed to hold on away from Netcruise for the time being and is now pulling a little bit of a lead as they enter the start-finish straight. Well, effectively, for the last time, Netcruise is 0.9 of a second behind Rafa. He's still holding Nadi Perez at bay. Lillian in 4th place. Kirei G getting past Tamas as well. And I wonder what that's about, Ollie.
Netcruise got a 3-second time penalty, Gareth.
Oh, no.
On the last lap, took too much curb coming through turn 1, 2 and 3. And that could swing the title once again towards Lethal Sniper. He'll definitely lose 3rd and 4th. Well, he'll go down to 4th. It could be even 5th with how close the guys are behind. And we'll have to do the maths after the race, Gareth. But just drama at every stage of this race.
With Dovzan's penalty, I still think 4th place is enough. I still think 4th place is enough. Because it's 10.
Of course, yeah, sorry. Didn't see Dov's with penalty, yes.
Oh. No, it's 10 points. It won't be enough. Oh, goodness me. Goodness me. We will have to wait and see with the maths. Rafa pulling away a little bit more. Netcruise is going to be heartbroken if that is the case. Nadi Perez and Lillian pushing that Aston Martin around these final few corners now. Dovzan nearly making a mistake at 14. Pantalev picking up a penalty. But it would be very rude of me not to go on board with this man. He's done a fantastic job of holding up and doing everything as soon as he hit the lead. And Rafa is now going to come round these final few corners for the last time in Singapore, for the last time this season, and turns 22, 23 complete, and he's taken victory in ORL in the final race of the season. Wow, Nadi Perez in 2nd, 3rd place to Lillian. Netcruise will come home in 4th, 5th is Dovzan, 6th will be Kirei G there. Where is Lethal Sniper? He is slowly coming around the final few corners. Ollie, what a mental Singapore Grand Prix.
That was unheard of, Gareth. I thought Singapore can be one or the other. It can be super entertaining like this evening, or it can be very lethargic and boring. But that was some race and many moments of shock. I don't think I've been so high pitched since I was about 13 before my balls dropped, I think. But that was some race. Then yeah, that was a great race to end the season here in ORL. And God, Lethal Sniper must the sweat in his room or in his seat. You know, the stress he went through, as all the drivers in this race, Gareth. It was just, yeah, what a race that was.
I don't know how to describe what we've witnessed tonight. I think we're still waiting on Dimitri to finish up here, Ollie, as he is slowly. Wow, absolutely mental stuff.
Yeah, quite literally mental. I think you could use a numerous amount of words to describe that race, Gareth. Mad, chaotic, crazy, madness. You know, it's just had everything, I think. It would be nice to see a few more overtakes, but obviously in the rain you can't get that. But what a race that was, and great win for Rafa there, with obviously Perez and Lillian getting on the podium. And it all kicked off with Lillian obviously making that mistake on the safety car, and the trickle effect that happened, and the contact. And Sniper's lucky to not lose a tyre there, Gareth, how hard he hit the wall. So an extra miles an hour or extra slightly being hit hard on the wall could have changed everything in that race there. No problems, Gareth's got a quick break, but I'll run down the drivers here before we finish this stream tonight. It is Rafa with the win. The Portuguese man with Nardi Perez in second and Lillian in P3. One of our championship protagonists in Net Cruz in fourth, Dosvan in fifth, Kira G in sixth, Tamas in seventh, Karma in eighth, Lethal Sniper in ninth, our champion for now. Well, I'm sure there might be penalties later on, but for now he's the champion. Emilio in 10th, Dimitri Pantlev in 11th, and then all the retirements. Hassett, Robbie Van, Andres Lopez, Christian, Andres Loff, Alex, and Christian Sendel, all unfortunately retiring from the session. God, I think we can all do with a sit down now. A sit down and a nice cup of tea and a biscuit, maybe. What a race that was. And Gareth, are you back? No, Gareth isn't back just yet. Just waiting to get back to round off the stream. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching, because that was some race. And I'm not sure when it's going to start again. Gareth might know a little more information than I do. Gareth, you back yet? No, still just me. Just me. But yeah, what a season that was. And hopefully you tune in once again next season for here in Tier 2, because it was some race. Yeah, I think Emilio says it well. Good thrill, what an end to the final race. I think that's the best way of describing.
So, Ollie, there we go. Let's move on to a bit of a nicer screen than just drivers there. Have we got final words of everything that's happened?
I mean, again, like I said, Gavin, you could use multiple words to describe that one with how it all panned out. Yeah, that was some race. For good and for bad, there were some controversial moments, and we don't know how that will be judged afterwards, so that could change how it all finished. But yeah, it was some race, wasn't it? And a thriller, to say the least. And there were so many sort of oh my god moments in that just my voice is going already, and yeah, it doesn't bode well for the other stream we're going to do later on. But yeah, it was a great race, and I thoroughly enjoyed my being part of the latter stage of the season, Gareth.
Yeah, it's incredible. I'm trying to see if we can get Rafa in for a chat, just a quick one, because that would be quite an interesting conversation to have. But I think, wow, what a way to what a Singapore Grand Prix. You know what? Everyone kind of has their reservations about Singapore. I think we've mentioned it as well. But you know what? I'm glad we had this race.
Yeah, it was some race, wasn't it? Like I said, we do, and even I came into the race going, "Oh, not a huge fan of Singapore. It can be boring at times," but they flipped that on their head tonight, and yeah, that was some race. Rain helped, and I think we still would have had a great race regardless if it was rain or not, Gareth. And mistakes like that do happen, and sure we probably would have had maybe more safety cars because if we didn't have rain. But yeah, what a race that was.
Yeah. Sorry, Ollie. Let me just see if I can get Rafa in here, because that would be it would be interesting. But we had our fair share of controversy through this as well, didn't we? There was incidents. There were things that caused people. Well, we saw the McLaren and Lethal Sniper, which initially turned everything for one of the a billion times on its head. And as long as it's not bad controversy, I say bad controversy, people don't take it too badly.
Yeah.
Controversy in a league race works well.
Yeah, it has entertainment. For those who are watching, they want spice, and we definitely got spice this evening. And like I said, there are controversial moments for good and for bad. There's contact between drivers. Maybe not like you wouldn't directly describe that as controversial, but it adds an element of entertainment to a race. Obviously, a little bit of contact between Tamas and Lethal Sniper. Tried to make a move up the inside and got caught together. We've seen that plenty of time with the net code, and it put Tamas in the wall. I don't think that was the intention for Sniper, but nonetheless controversial because of how that ended. And obviously then he got spun earlier on as well, and yeah, there was quite a few moments shocking moments, like running out of words to describe it. And yeah, I think I made quite a few strange noises when my shocking moments on circuit this evening, Gareth.
Definitely. But we do have our race winner with us. Rafa, welcome along. I hope you can hear us. And just firstly, congratulations on your race victory. Hopefully, because you're on mute at the moment, so I'm hoping you'll flip over soon. But if you can just talk us through how that went for you. Oh, okay. He doesn't have permissions to speak, so that's that's very, very awkward.
Hello?
There we go. We've got him, I think. Rafa, welcome along. I hope you're well, and congratulations on your race victory.
Thank you, Garrett and Oliver. Good night. Thank you for the good evening. Thank you for the congrats of the winning. I did not believe it in the final. In the beginning of the race, I do not believe I can win this race, but fortunately, with the right calls and some good luck with Lillian spins in front of me, I managed to handle and bring the win.
How difficult was the racing conditions tonight?
Singapore in dry conditions is already mental difficult at 31 laps around this circuit. So in wet conditions becomes a lot worse. So it was a matter of keeping cool and no risk too much on some corners, and that helped me to bring the victory today.
Before that final safety car and obviously the Lillian incident, you were sitting P3, I believe. Did you think that would be your final finishing position, and you were quite happy with that one?
Yes, when the last safety car before comes in, I was sitting in P2 with Lillian in front of me, but I knew that I did not have the pace for Lillian, and I was just happy getting a second place. But when I see him spin, unfortunately, of course, it was a good feeling, but at the same time I feel sorry for Lillian because that happens a lot of us. But in the end, I'm very happy with the victory.
Ollie, have you got any questions for Rafa?
No, Gareth, nothing from me. Just want to congratulate you, Rafa, on a race, because that was hard for us in the comms box, and I can't imagine how difficult it was for you driving in those horrible conditions at Singapore. It's hard enough in the dry, let alone the wet conditions. So congratulations on the win tonight.
Thank you, and have a nice weekend to both of you, and thank you for the casting today.
No, thank you for racing, Rafa. Congratulations again on your race victory, and everyone who has managed to finish this torrid race. It was horrendous conditions here at Singapore, and Ollie, you know what? I wouldn't have liked to have driven in those conditions.
No, not at all. You know, we're no pros at this game either, I don't think, Gareth, but it's hard enough to just link a lap together. We saw in qualifying, in the dry, you could see some drivers making mistakes, and you had the rain in race conditions as well. Obviously, the car's heavier. You got cars around. You got the spray to deal with as well. You know, we had everything, and yeah, like I said, I'm glad I'm in the comms box and not racing, because I most likely would have binned it early on in those wet conditions. So yeah, or would have been going on at a snail's pace maybe. So yeah, glad to be in the comms box. But yeah, like I said, it was a very entertaining race throughout, and yeah, it's been a good season altogether.
Yeah, thank you, Ollie. Thank you for filling in these few weeks with me as well. We didn't have the full season, but we did get to see some incredible action here at OOL. And, you know, that is the season done and dusted here. And hopefully we will get to speak to you all again very, very shortly when the new season kicks off. We're not sure when all that is happening. I don't have the details of that, unfortunately, but I would just like to thank you for watching, for sticking through with the casting with us wherever I've been in ORL. I have enjoyed every minute. I'm sure, Ollie, you are the same with that. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and let's see you in the next one.